There's nothing quite like the smell of freshly baked bread wafting through your kitchen. It's a scent that instantly makes you feel at home, filling the air with warmth and a sense of nostalgia. It's a warm and inviting aroma that speaks of comfort and happiness. The simple act of baking bread can transform your kitchen into a haven of coziness and joy. Baking bread at home is a rewarding experience. It's a process that connects you to the age-old tradition of bread making, a skill passed down through generations. It's about creating something delicious from simple ingredients: flour, yeast, water, and a bit of salt. That's all you need to start your bread-making journey. You get to feel the dough come alive in your hands. The tactile experience of kneading dough is both therapeutic and satisfying. You watch it transform in the oven. The dough rises, turns golden brown, and fills your home with an irresistible aroma. And then, the best part, you get to enjoy the taste of your very own homemade loaf. There's nothing quite like the first bite of warm, freshly baked bread. It might seem daunting at first, but trust me, baking bread is easier than you think. With a little patience and practice, you'll find yourself becoming more confident with each loaf. With a bit of practice and this guide, you'll be a star baker in no time. Let's get started on this delightful journey of homemade bread making. Before we begin our baking adventure, let's gather our ingredients. It's always a good idea to have everything ready and within reach before you start. This way, you won't have to scramble around the kitchen looking for that one missing item. Don't worry, these are simple pantry staples. Most of these ingredients are probably already in your kitchen. If not, they're easy to find at any grocery store. Warm water. This helps to activate the yeast and wake it up for baking. Make sure the water is just warm, not hot, to avoid killing the yeast. Active dry yeast. This is our magic ingredient that makes the bread rise and gives it that lovely, airy texture. Yeast is a living organism, and it needs the right conditions to thrive. Sugar. A little sweetness for the yeast to munch on and get energized. It also adds a touch of sweetness to the bread, balancing the flavors perfectly. All-purpose flour. The main building block of our bread, providing structure and texture. It's versatile and perfect for a variety of baked goods. Salt enhances the flavor of the bread and controls the yeast activity. It also strengthens the dough and improves its texture. Olive oil, optional, for a softer crust and a touch of flavor. It adds a richness to the bread and helps keep it moist. See? Simple ingredients for a truly satisfying loaf of bread. Now let's get mixing. With everything ready, the process will be smooth and enjoyable. Let's dive into the fun part. In a large bowl, pour in the warm water. Sprinkle the yeast over the water. Add a pinch of sugar, like a little treat for the yeast. Give it a gentle stir, and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. You should see a frothy layer forming on top. That means the yeast is active and ready to work its magic. This frothy mixture is called a sponge. It's a sign that your yeast is alive and well, ready to make your bread rise beautifully. Now comes the fun part, making the dough. Add the flour and salt to the yeast mixture. If you like, you can add a tablespoon of olive oil for a softer crust. Mix everything together with a wooden spoon until it forms a shaggy dough. It's okay if it's a little sticky at this stage. We'll be kneading it soon, which will help develop the gluten and create a smooth and elastic dough. This is where the magic starts to happen. As you mix, the flour absorbs the liquid and the dough begins to take shape. Section 5, Kneading your dough's workout. This is where the magic happens, transforming simple ingredients into a masterpiece. Lightly flour your work surface. This prevents the dough from sticking and makes the kneading process smoother. Turn the dough out onto the floured surface. Be gentle but firm, ensuring the dough lands evenly. Now it's time to give the dough a good workout. This step is crucial for developing the dough's structure. Use the heels of your hands to push the dough down and forward. This motion helps to stretch and strengthen the gluten strands. Fold it over on itself, turn it, and repeat. This repetitive action ensures even distribution of ingredients and air. Knead for about 10 minutes. This might seem long, but it's essential for achieving the perfect texture. The dough should become smooth and elastic. This indicates that the gluten has developed properly. You'll know it's ready when it springs back when you poke it gently with your finger. This is a sign of well-kneaded dough. Kneading is like giving your dough a mini workout, helping it to develop a strong and elastic texture that will result in a beautifully risen loaf. This process is the foundation of great bread, ensuring every bite is perfect. Section 6. The first rise. Patience is key. Lightly grease a large bowl. Place your kneaded dough into the bowl, turning it to coat it with the oil. Cover the bowl with a clean kitchen towel. Now we wait. Let the dough rise in a warm place for about an hour, or until it has doubled in size. This is called the first rise. This resting period allows the yeast to work its magic, fermenting the sugars in the dough and producing carbon dioxide, which makes the bread rise and gives it a light and airy texture. Section 7. Shaping and the second rise. Gently punch down the dough to release any air bubbles. Turn it out onto a lightly floured surface. Shape it into a loaf or rolls, whatever you fancy. Place your shaped dough onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Cover it again with the kitchen towel and let it rise for another 30 minutes. This is the second rise. This second rise is crucial for achieving a light and airy texture. Section 8. Baking Day Aroma. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. Once the oven is hot, place your baking sheet with the risen dough on the middle rack. Bake for about 30 to 35 minutes for a loaf, or until golden brown and sounds hollow when tapped on the bottom. For rolls, bake for 15 to 20 minutes. The aroma of baking bread will fill your kitchen, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere that will make everyone eager for a taste of your homemade goodness. Section 9. Cooling and enjoying your creation. Once baked, remove the bread from the oven. Let it cool on a wire rack before slicing and serving. This allows the steam to escape and prevents the bread from becoming soggy. And that's it. You did it. You baked your own delicious bread. Now slice it up and enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction of biting into a warm slice of bread that you made yourself. It's a simple pleasure that brings joy to everyday life. Section 10. Baking adventures await. Congratulations on baking your first loaf. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more you bake, the more confident you'll become. Once you feel comfortable with the basic recipe, feel free to experiment. Add different flours, seeds, nuts, or herbs to create your own signature loaves. Happy baking!